Hey everyone, Professor McKinney here at Jenny Lake at Grand Tetons National Forest here in Wyoming. Hope you all have had a great time learning about our learning topics this week. So let's dive into talking about it a little bit more.
All right. Hello, Sumit. How are you doing?
Doing good, John. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for being able to hop on the a call with me today to be able to talk to my students, about yourself and your experience and where you're from. I think it's going to be a great, a great discussion that we have.
Yeah, I'm happy to discuss all the facts and I'm really excited.
Great. Well, so I just have a couple of questions for us. The first question is, I was going to see if you could tell us, about yourself, where you're from, what you do for a living. Just
Yeah.
tell us all about you and what you do.
Okay, awesome. My full name is Sumit Bhatt and I am from Pithoragarh, India. So it's a very small town which is, way up in the Himalayas. And it just touches the Nepal border. So I would say, like, if you are standing on the roof of my house back there, you will see the Nepal. And this side is India, separated by a huge glacier river. From there, I made my journey all the way to United States. So here I work as a technical architect in one of the healthcare companies. So I help them design the softwares for their clients and for themselves as well. And I completed my Bachelor of Engineering back in India, in IT, and then slowly progressed through the IT world and started the work as a software developer, and then became a software architect in the next 10 years, then 12 years.
Awesome. Yeah, I know when we met a couple weeks ago and I was just talking to you about your background and where you were from, it was just absolutely fascinating to
Yeah.
me. And so you're from the north part of India, right
Right.
next to Nepal, as you said, you can see it from your roof.
Yeah.
So um, now, with being that close, did you spend a lot of time in Nepal, dealing with people from there, or were you pretty much just in India that whole time?
No, when I was growing up there, we used to visit like India and Nepal. You don't need a visa to visit a Nepal if you are an Indian. There's a bridge that separates India and Nepal, and we would just cross by, especially just to see what kind of market is there. There is a lot of trade happening between both the countries, and we would be eager to go there and see like what kind, since it's a cold area, like you'll find some cool sweaters or some cool bandanas, and would go there just to shop and eat. And same thing would happen with the kids from there. We would meet them, they would be coming towards India side just to see how things on this side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know in this conversation we're going to kind of talk about the difference between India and the United States, but
Hmm.
I'm curious with being so close to Nepal, right, on the border
Yeah.
and spending times. What was kind of the differences between India and Nepal? Was it noticeable, or was it just kind of like an invisible border?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think the differences are very thin, I would say. I mean, they are not visible at all. Only difference is the language. So the Nepalese is a little bit different from the Indian Hindi language versus my language, which is very local to the region I live. Since you are tied up or living at very close to the border, so the language is like somewhere, you there is a dialect of that language which each of the group can understand. But if you see the Nepalese language, it's a bit different. Apart from that, the living of people, the family values, the trade and the way they work, it's all same. There's no difference between where I live versus Nepal.
okay. And how about where you live, or compared to? other parts of India, right? Because it's a huge
Yeah.
country.
Right.
17% of the world is
Yeah.
from India.
Yeah.
What about like some like I guess southern India or the places where it's more of like a warmer climate? Do you notice big differences
Oh
that way?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is very fascinating. Like I'm across the border, there's an international country, and I haven't noticed any difference now. Now if you come towards India, so you know, each state has its own culture. Each state in India has their own local languages. So, like Hindi is the national language in India. Then English is the second communication language everyone knows there because it's taught in school right from the basics. But when you go to different states, they have their own language, they have their own culture of doing things. Although, if you say like someone is Hindu or Punjabi, but within the different states, they might be doing things differently. The food is different from state to state. The way people wear clothes is different from state to state. The local dialects are different. So it's a huge difference. I mean, I would say like if you travel every 25 kilometer, which is, somewhere around 18 miles, you will see the difference, very drastic differences. And like you said, like where I live is cold, and India has like a lot of people think India is a tropical country, but it's not. So the south of India is like more tropical, and north of India is all towards the mountainside. So you will see the differences between the temperature as well. And since the temperature changes, the vegetation changes. So it's very different from state to state.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. In my job, I've had a couple people that I work with from Nepal.
Hmm.
Of course, they're Sherpas, and they've worked on Mount Everest and all those different
Yeah.
places, and then they work for us in Antarctica. But I've never thought of the difference, right? So I guess you probably relate
Yeah.
more to the people close to you in Nepal than on the other side of India, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the people, I mean, also depends upon like, especially the mountain, like you said, Sherpas, the life on the mountain is really hard in Nepal and India, because the climate is really tough. And compared to the climate, like how you have the amenities, right? So it's different. And in cities, it's I would say a life is a little bit easy because you have a lot of amenities which you can use, like the public transports and all. I would give an example, like especially where I live, there are no public buses which you can use from to travel from one place to another. There are interstate buses, but there are not buses which are traveling from one town to another. Only mode of transport is like local transport which people are using. But if you come to a city life or other states, it's different. You have full connectivity to all small places.
Yeah. Okay. Now, in the town that you're from, is it like a large metropolitan area, or is it or is the population lower? Um,
Yeah, I would say somewhere in between large and small town. 10 years back, I would have said it's a small town. Now I would say more, somewhere in between because it's growing really fast. Uh,
okay.
since the social media is growing, like Facebook and Instagram, and people, hiking places and posting pictures, those things has helped to boost the tourism there. Like a lot of people go there now to hike. And it's so remote right now. Also the another factor is like in last 10 years a lot of development has happened which enable people, normal people, to just use any mode of transport to visit the mountains like that. So because of that, a lot of people from other parts of India also have migrated to live in mountains. So the population and the development of cities has grown drastically. So I think it's somewhere between a metropolitan town or a small town, somewhere in between, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting too. Earlier in the semester, the students were actually studying, technology and globalization.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, the use of social media has brought the attention that it's a beautiful place in North India, right?
Oh
Like
yeah. Yeah.
you mentioned the hiking, and I'm sure the camping and
Right.
other that has
Yeah.
increased. I mean, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming you've gotten more tourists from all around the world, and so then more people are looking for jobs, and that's what
Yeah.
caused it to grow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only India, I was saying like people migrated from India, but like there are people from, the Germany, France, and Europe, which are living who are living there. I mean, they are the regular visitors to climb or hike or explore. But like one example I can give is like there are two guys who are from Germany, and they are teacher in school. And if you talk to them, they speak Hindi like they have been living there forever. So, and they are teaching Hindi to the other Europeans who are coming there, and also to the local. Since they are teaching in school, they're also teaching these, small kids there. So jobs like that, apart from that, like now, it boosts the tourism. If you say tourism, then you have hotels, then you have transport
Mhm.
system, then you have all kind of, the logistics stuff related to it. So those areas have been growing very much year by year, I would say.
Okay. And what would you say is the biggest like business or like export or something grown or manufactured in where you're from? What's the biggest what's the biggest type of business or work that people have?
Yeah, I think the biggest work I would say it would be farming. The primary source of food or business there is farming, especially like some of the grains which only grow there, and you cannot because of the the soil and the cold climate, and those are shipped like the apples from the mountains are very much popular, and people grow them and sell them to the other places, send it to other places. The walnuts are different in mountains, so they are really popular. Apart from farming, the secondary business because of tourism is the hotels. Like you have a lot of hotels and Airbnbs now, uh, so that has been growing a lot as well.
Okay, awesome. So kind of jumping to my next question is you mentioned that you came to the United States a couple years ago. Kind of walk me through that whole experience and maybe some of maybe like culture shock or just things that were different between where you grew up in India and the United States.
Yeah, I mean, there are some differences which are highly noticeable, and there are a few which are not. Since I was working with my company, and my clients were always from US, and I was talking to them every day, I know how things were. But seeing the things in person was very different. The first thing I noticed was like food. I was more used to eat spicy food, right, back in India. So if you are not going to Indian restaurant, then have to think many times like what exactly you're gonna eat now, because you don't know a lot of things there. The second one I would say is the driving. In India, we drive on the right side, and here we drive on the left side. So it took me a while to understand those things. Like I should be driving on left or right, because subconsciously your mind is still taking you the right side, right, uh, versus left, and the metric system. That was a big challenge to remember the kgs versus pounds, milliliter versus ounces. So those things took a while to get used to. Uh, Culturally, like in India, apart from cities, I saw like there are people are very reserved compared to here. Like it's a lot of more modern and more open. So those things were the changes which I could see and feel it by visiting the places or talking to people. But apart
Yeah.
from that, I think other things which people usually see, I was more used to it because I was like this. I was doing a video call to my clients all the time from India as well.
Okay. Awesome. So you had a lot of exposure before
Yeah,
um, moving over here. Now, did
right.
you move? Was it before COVID, if I remember when we talked the first time, or is that when
Yeah,
you moved?
I yeah, I just moved 4 or 5 months before COVID hit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Um,
and then that
oh, oh,
yeah,
I
and
was
that
going to say,
was
how
tough
was that
because
experience for you?
yeah, I mean that was tough because I came here just before the COVID, right? Somewhere in April, May, and I started going to my workplace. I was meeting people and making friends in the office, and I was really excited to hang out with them post work and make new friends. I like hiking and outdoors and photography, and I was like, okay, let's make some friends and then do some good hiking and go on photography trips, which didn't happen because after 4 or 5 months everything started shutting down, and it was a terrific experience because you are seeing people queued up on all the shopping malls or grocery stores. And then 1 year or 1.5 years working from home, you are not. I was not meeting a lot of people. So I apart from the work people which I knew, I didn't had any other friends. So only thing you are doing is like working from home, talking to your office people, working from home, talking to office people. So that phase 1 year was really tough because if you had friends, at least you can talk to them, right? And the friends which I had, they were all in India, and then here in India, the time zone difference is huge, and they're finding time to talk to them. That was the only option you can discuss with your friends and family back there. But that phase was a little bit tough phase, I would say. But post pandemic, it once the everything started sorting out, I started hiking a little bit more, and I made a lot of friends through hiking, which I was not expecting. I was expecting more friends to be made at workplace, and then hanging out with them more. But it happened opposite to me. Like I made more friends outdoors than workplace.
Okay. Um, awesome. And then the last kind of question that I have
Hmm.
is that, and I ask everyone this, is what piece of advice would you have, for the students as they're studying international management? Some of them are wanting to go work in other countries when they graduate. What advice do you have, for them
Yeah,
with that?
yeah. I think the first advice, especially if somebody is wanting to go to India, I would say is like when I was talking from my personal experience, when I was talking to people in my office and I was trying to explain how India is, I observed that they still have the same 90s or 80s mindset about India, like the country of snakes and the country of old rituals. I
Hmm.
would say which is not. Uh, I mean, that might be a case in 1940s or 50s, but like India is as modern as United States. So
Okay.
if you are planning to go to India, there are really good amenities in all of the cities. Like whatever you find it here, you find it there. Um, but I would do say, like, if you are trying to visit a particular place, you just always do a good homework, like what exactly you want to do is available there, right?
Mhm.
Um, and but apart from that, all the food options are available. All the big cities amenities are available. Um, and if you are traveling first time, apart from work to some places, I would always recommend having a local guide. And once you are used to people there and having conversation with them, then it becomes really easy. Then you can do things on your own. But because when you travel from states to India, the huge difference you would see is the personal space. So we in India like to love and talk to each other so much that we don't have a personal space, right? So you would be standing on roof and talking to your friend, neighbor. The doors are always open. You are welcome anywhere. Nobody is going to ask, what do you want, right? If you're visiting someone, people are so polite that they will welcome you to their house, feed you, make sure that you have place to stay, make sure that you have whatever you want to do, right? So the people are really friendly. But to get to that level, I think the biggest thing challenge sometimes can be language, because some of the places, some people may not be able to speak English. So if you have a local guide or a local friend who stays there, that might help you connect with them. But if you are going in big cities, I think it's not a problem. You will find everything there.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for that piece of advice for the students. And thank you for your time and being willing to sit down and talk with us. Um, and I'm sure the students are going to love it and learning about India. So,
Yeah, not a problem. And thank you for inviting me. I hope that I was able to provide some information regarding India and the Himalayan region.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll, I don't know, maybe go see each other on a hiking trail or something.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I would love that.
all right, sounds good. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, hey everyone. I hope you enjoyed watching this week's video. I am still here at Jenny Lake in Wyoming. But yeah, I hope you learned a lot on those topics that we discussed. And I'm looking forward to talking with you again next week.